In the distant realms of ancient myth, there exists a land known only to the gods and whispered about by mortals, the land of Hyperborea. Imagine, if you will, a world beyond the reach of human suffering, where the sun never sets, where death has no dominion, and where harmony reigns eternal. This is Hyperborea, the mythical paradise of the north, said to lie far beyond the icy winds of Boreas, the north wind. Yet, Hyperborea is not just a myth. Its echoes resound in the stories of lost civilizations, ancient wisdom, and esoteric traditions. It emerges from the mist of history as both a real and symbolic place, standing at the intersection of geography, philosophy, and divinity. Today, I invite you to journey through the legends of this utopian realm, to explore its deeper meaning, and to reflect on what it represents in the grand tapestry of human understanding. To begin our tale, we must look to the ancient Greeks, the poets, historians, and philosophers who first spoke of Hyperborea. The word itself, hyper meaning beyond, and borea referring to the north wind, places this land in a realm far removed from the known world. In their writings, the Hyperboreans are described as a race blessed by the gods, living in a land of eternal spring, untouched by the hardships of war, disease, and death. Herodotus, the father of history, speaks of their immortality, noting that their lifespan was not like ours, but extended into the centuries, free from the withering touch of time. They lived beyond the realm of human toil, in a state of eternal harmony with nature and the divine. Pindar, the lyric poet, wrote of them as worshippers of Apollo, the god of light and prophecy, who would journey to their land during the winter months to bask in the purity of their worship. This connection to Apollo, the god of enlightenment, prophecy, and harmony, is significant. For Hyperborea was not only a distant place on the edge of the world, it was a realm of spiritual transcendence. The Hyperboreans lived in perfect alignment with the cosmos, their existence interwoven with the divine order, and their souls in eternal communion with the gods. Yet where was this land? If it was indeed beyond the north wind, does this mean it was somewhere in the Arctic, beyond the lands we know today? Or could it be, as some have speculated, that Hyperborea was never meant to be found on any map? Perhaps its remoteness is symbolic of something deeper, a place not on the edges of the earth, but at the farthest reaches of human experience. The Greeks often spoke of Hyperborea as a real place, somewhere beyond the northern lands of the Scythians, perhaps near the Arctic Circle or even Siberia. But it's worth considering, could they have been referring to a lost civilization? Theories abound about ancient, advanced cultures, Atlantis, Lemuria, even pre-Ice Age societies in northern Europe or beyond. Some suggest that the Hyperboreans were the last vestiges of an earlier Golden Age civilization, whose knowledge and ways were lost to time and catastrophe. Consider for a moment the discovery of sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which rewrites our understanding of ancient history, pushing back the timeline of human civilization by thousands of years. Might the Hyperboreans have been an ancient people, perhaps a civilization whose achievements we have yet to fully uncover, living in harmony with the natural and cosmic forces before their world faded into the mists of legend? Or, as some esoteric traditions propose, could Hyperborea represent a spiritual homeland, a state of being rather than a physical location? Just as the philosopher's stone is not merely a mineral but a symbol for enlightenment, could Hyperborea be a place of the soul, a metaphor for the journey towards spiritual purity and transcendence? Let us now turn to the deeper meanings of Hyperborea, the land of eternal spring and unending peace. It stands as a utopian ideal, a place beyond the strife and toil of the human world. Throughout history, human beings have dreamed of such places. Eden, the Isles of the Blessed, Shangri-La, and Atlantis. These are lands of perfection where the flaws of human existence are cast aside and where a higher form of life is possible. But these utopias are always isolated, always distant and unreachable. Hyperborea, like all perfect worlds, lies beyond the horizon, in a place we cannot reach through ordinary means. Its isolation is not just geographic but metaphysical. It represents the separation between the flawed, transient nature of our world and the eternal, unblemished realm of divine perfection. Hyperborea's unattainability reflects a profound truth about human aspiration. The perfect world, the ideal society, is something we can imagine but never fully attain. In the stories of Atlantis and Hyperborea, we see the same theme repeated, a golden age lost, a paradise that slips through our fingers. These myths remind us that the pursuit of perfection, whether in society, in knowledge, or in spirit, requires more than just geographic discovery. It is a journey inward toward a higher understanding of ourselves and the universe. In this way, Hyperborea becomes more than a myth. It becomes an archetype of human perfection. It represents the ideal we strive for, but can never quite reach. This archetype has shaped countless esoteric and philosophical traditions, from Plato's Republic to Nietzsche's Übermensch and beyond. In theosophy and other occult traditions, Hyperborea is seen as a primordial civilization, perhaps even the cradle of human spiritual evolution. Some believe that it was a land inhabited by beings of great wisdom, who possessed knowledge long since lost to modern humanity. This knowledge, they say, lies dormant within us, waiting to be rediscovered as we progress toward higher levels of consciousness. In this light, Hyperborea is not a place on Earth, but a place within us, an ideal to which we aspire, a state of being that transcends the ordinary limits of human existence. Just as the Hyperboreans lived in harmony with the gods, so too do we seek to align ourselves with the divine order, to find a way of living that is in balance with nature and the cosmos. Finally, let us consider the esoteric interpretations of Hyperborea. In many mystical traditions, the journey to Hyperborea is not a physical one, but a spiritual quest. It is the soul's journey toward enlightenment, toward union with the divine. This echoes the teachings of alchemy, where the search for the philosopher's stone is symbolic of the soul's purification and ultimate transformation. In the same way, Hyperborea represents a state of purity, a return to an original, uncorrupted form of being. It is the place where the soul, after its long journey through the trials and tribulations of life, can finally rest in eternal peace and harmony. In this sense, the Hyperboreans are not just mythical beings, they are us. They are what we can become if we transcend the limits of our mortal, material existence and find our way back to the divine. And so we come to the end of our journey through the myth, history, and mystery of Hyperborea. Whether it was a real place, a lost civilization of advanced beings, or a metaphor for human perfection and spiritual transcendence, the land of the Hyperboreans continues to captivate the imagination. It stands as a beacon of what humanity could be, a reminder of the golden ages we have lost and the ideals we continue to strive toward. As we reflect on this ancient myth, let us remember that the search for Hyperborea, whether physical or spiritual, is not just the search for a place, but the search for meaning, wisdom, and harmony in a world that often feels disconnected from the divine. The Hyperboreans in their perfect land beckon to us from across the ages, reminding us that the journey toward enlightenment is eternal, and that perfection, though always distant, is forever worth pursuing. In the end, Hyperborea is not just a story of the past, it is a dream of the future. It is the hope that somewhere beyond the northern winds, beyond the limits of our understanding, lies a place where we too may one day find peace.